Praise the Lord, my beautiful, blessed souls, back with bruised and not broken. I had to take me a couple of days off. Was tired and it's been cold and just needed some time to relax, regenerate. But here we are. We are going into Deuteronomy chapter 7, and this is going to really get interesting because this is going to be a chapter where people are going to get the grips of. Everyone thinks God is this wonderful. Don't get me wrong, He is. But people do not understand the other side of God. The wrath. Okay. So Deuteronomy chapter 7. When the Lord your God brings you into the land that you are entering to take possession of it and clears away many nations before you, the Hittites, the Gergesites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations, which remember 7 is always a numerical number of completion, more numerous and mightier than you. So when he talks about these nations being mightier and bigger than them, this lets us know that it's not about, size. It's not about who's bigger, who has more strength, who has more power. Because even in the time of David and Goliath, if we notice, David was able to kill Goliath with one smooth stone. But the thing with that was, it wasn't by his might and his power, but it was by the Spirit of the Lord. Why? Because God had already given it to him. God specifically chose David for that fight. It was already rigged in his favor, unbeknownst to David or the others. It took him time to get there, but of course, once he got there, he knew what he needed to do. And he knew God had chosen him for this. So when we think about these things and we look at what he's telling them, because he wants them to go in, and this is what he's planning. He's telling them, you're going to go in, you're going to utterly destroy these 7 nations that are mightier than you. Okay, he's giving them to them. Why? Because it's not by their power and their might. It's by his Spirit. He's the one going to allow it to happen. So everyone that they're coming against, they already know that they're defeated. Because it's not them they're fighting, it's God that they're fighting. But they have to physically do what God is telling them that is spiritually already theirs. And this is where we come into our own deliverance. We have to play a part in it. And when the Lord your God gives them over to you and you defeat them, then you must devote them to complete destruction. Do you not hear what God... See, a lot of people think Christianity is about being meek and weak. But when we look at the eye for an eye thing, when we look at the destruction thing, when we look at God not causing his people to be a people of, defeat, a people of being enchained and shackled in bondage to any people, place, or thing, to allowing anyone to be over them, to allowing them to be a servant to them, to be afraid of them, and no matter what, when we look at our government, when we look at people, places, and things, whether it's in your home, whether it's on your job, whether it's wherever it may be in life, and you feel like you're alone, you're by yourself and no one, please understand, people of God, God is with us, and he calls us not to be afraid of anything. We are to be bold and be strong and to be victorious, because God, whenever someone comes against us, they're not just coming against us, they're coming against God. And usually they are sent from Satan. Why? Because usually Satan is using them to be whatever that blockage or whatever it is that God is allowing it. He's going to allow it to make a great example of them. And this is what this is about. It says, you shall not intermarry with them, giving your daughters. He said, bring them to complete and utter destruction. So when he tells them that, this means you're to completely annihilate, wipe them out, finish them. Do not play games. Do not leave any remnant. Destroy them, men, women, and children alike. When God is in the business of judgment, destroying, destruction, and there's reasons behind this, and we're going to see what he's talking about, then we're going to see. Because anyone who comes against his people is coming against him. So they're going to bring, all of these things which you're going to see upon themselves. You shall make no covenant with them and show no mercy to them. So do not befriend them. Do not make covenant with them. Do not do any of these things. Why? Because they are the enemy. God already knows they are the enemy, and we're going to see why. This is why you can't play with people, places, and things. And I tell people all the time, I'm a very kind, loving person, but I am not the person that's going to play with you. And people say I'm mean and I'm this, and I know my family always said I was the meanest child of my mom. It's not about being mean. It's not about, no, you can be kind. but you don't have to be weak, meek. You don't have to be a footstool for anybody. You don't. And God does not call you to be that. And I think a lot of times being a believer, that people just automatically assume that they can do whatever they want, treat you however they want because you're saved or you are a believer. But that God does not tell us and call us to be and or do those things. So now, you shall not intermarry with them, giving your daughters to their sons or taking their daughters for your sons. For they will turn away your sons from following me. And this is why. To serve other gods. Exactly. Then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against you, and he will destroy you quickly. For going against who? For going against God. Why? Because these people are practicing other things. They worship other gods. This is a problem. Why? Because they're clearly the enemy. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall break down their altars and dash in pieces their pillars and chop down their asherim and burn their carved images with fire. And this is why. This is judgment. Now we see what's going on in the world today and we understand what this is all about. We see Super Bowl, all these other things. I'm going to get into that. Hold on. We're going to finish this and we're going to move forward. Why? Because those have great, we've seen the Grammys, we've seen all of these things going on. These are their altars, these are their covenants, these are their contracts that they make with their God. And see, when we look at what's going on with the Epstein files, the trials, all these different things, people are still worshiping these people, places, and things. Why? I don't even know. The writing is clearly on the wall that these people are evil, they're wicked, they're not for you in any sense of the way. That these people are satanic, they are demonic. And because that this is who they and what they are, people, especially those who are believers, please do not play with this. Because as you can see, what God has said, do not take their silver, do not take their stuff. So you're not supposed to marry them. You're not supposed to be with them. You're not supposed to do any of these things. So when we look at these things and we see people talking about, oh, they're doing these things, but they're still, no, we cannot. God is not. He says either you're for me or you're against me. You're not going to be in between. This is the lukewarmness. And I think it shows us that we really have to be separated. And it's like, that is a process. I get it. I understand it. But at some point, this is going to have to happen because this is what's going to befall. And this is, when we're going through Deuteronomy, we're going to see how the life ended up the way that it did, even pertaining to now. How did we get here? This is how we got here. For you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his treasured possession. Out of all the people who are on the face of the earth, it was not because you were more in number than any other people. So you're not the greatest. That the Lord set his love in you and chose you. For you were the fewest of all people. See, now, remember, God always make the last first, the first last. And he chose these people to be his, to show the world that although, you may think you're bigger, you're better, you're mightier, but because I am with these people and they are my people, this is why it's going to be different. Why? Because you can't tell me what to do with my people. And you are not the ruler of this earth. And I'm going to show you by using my people and what we're going to do. I'm going to make examples of you. And so it says, but it is because the Lord loves you and is keeping the oath that he swore to your fathers, that the Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you from the house of slavery, meaning from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Now, we got to understand in this world that when we talk about mountains, valleys, pharaohs and cobras and all these different things, these are, even Nephilims, whatever. These are the giants or the valleys. And I think I did a on that before. If you go back and we talked about, tracing your warfare. And so Pharaoh is just someone who's being used at this time. And as we can see, there are others being used throughout the world. These represents the kingdoms and the systems of the world that are evil, wicked, and demonic, that give us injustice, oppression, and all of these evil, wicked things that God hates and he's against. Why? Because these are man-made, manly things, but they're influenced because remember, it is not just man. It is Satan using these people. So when we think about the natural, it's because Satan is using these people because in their hearts, they're evil, they're corrupt, they're wicked. So he can use them. Why? Because they already have that in them. This is why. So Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. So this lets us know that as long as we're walking with God, that there will be, you see what I'm saying? No one's going to hurt, harm. You know why? Because they're not fighting you. They're fighting against God, which is a battle that they cannot win. Now, they may think it's all about you, because in the spiritual, in the natural realm, we seem to think that these battles is all about us. No, it is not. These are spiritual battles. These people, come up against you because Satan is using them. And because they're allowing themselves to be used, whether they know it or not, this is what it is. Because a lot of time when you look at these situations that they were in, a lot of these people that were against them, there was really no reason for them to be against them. But they were against them because that's the wicked spirit in them. Satan is using them. But God is allowing it to be used by these. He's allowing Satan to use them. Why? Because that's already in their heart. And why? To show them when he's finished with them what the outcome for them and Satan. And he repays to their face those who hate him by destroying them. He will not be slack with one who hates him. He will repay him to his face. You shall therefore be careful to do the commandments and the statutes and the rules that I command you today. Why? Because this is going to guarantee your victory. And this is why when we look at life, when we look at the world, and we look at what's going on today, and like I said, because, the Bible says we walk like, sheeps among the wolves. And there's so many battles being fought daily in the spiritual realm that, are on behalf of believers that we do not even see. And then everything that goes on in the spiritual realm, remember, it goes on there before it ever goes on here. So whatever's going on, God is allowing it, but he's allowing it for a reason and a season. And it's always for your good, because all things work together for the good for them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So when we look at these things, we must understand that God is in it. He's in it, and he's going to make examples of all involved, including yourself, as to where your trust is. We're not supposed to fear. We're not supposed to have doubt. We're not supposed to have worry. We're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to have, trust in God. We're not supposed to have anxiety. We're supposed to know that God has already worked it out, and no matter what's going on, we're going to do what we have to do, because remember, God allows you to fight battles when it's the time for war. He is the God of war for the time of war. And when it is time for war, God is going to utterly destroy it. That's it. There will be no remnant left of it. And this is what this is about. And when we're called to be his people, there's going to be times where you have to take up your sword, because this is a war. This is the army. And he's going to make them fight all of these people. This is why he said he's going to give them to them, but they have to go and fight each and every last one of these 7 nations. But his direct thing is utterly destroy them. Do not take any of their stuff. Destroy them. And because you listen to these rules and keep them and do them, the Lord your God will keep with you the covenant and the steadfast love that he swore to your fathers. He will love you, bless you, and multiply you. So what's the opposite of that? Curses, right? So if you don't obey, being obedient, this is what you get. Being opposite of this is going to get you cursed. He will also bless the fruit of your womb and the fruit of the ground, meaning all of these things are blessings. I talk about barrenness. All these type of things are considered to be curses. Why? Because God does not allow anyone to be barren. Your grain and your wine and your oil, the increase of your herds and the young of your flock, and the land that was sworn to your fathers to give you. You shall be blessed above all peoples. There shall not be a male or female barren among you or your livestock. So this is the wealth. And I know a lot of times, especially in our community, abortion, because we don't see the need and because it's been, infiltrated in us. But when we understand that this is talking, especially about Black American people, that this is who God had made the covenant with. But we are also the ones who sent him to the cross. So we are the ones that betrayed him. We are the ones that went after these false gods, these false idols. We are the ones. And when we look around at the world today and we see all of what goes on, and I'm not saying this to be racist, but I'm saying this because our people needs to know this. And outside of that, the truth needs to be told and it needs to be exposed. Why? Because for so long, it's time to awaken, sound the trumpet for the people to wake up. Why? Because the people are asleep. He said that we would be asleep. We wouldn't have no identity. We wouldn't know where we're going to be. Why? Because of these things. Why? Because of the sin, because of the curses, because of the idolatry, because of the worship, because of all of these things, of all these people, places, things. When you look at BET, when you look at all of these things of the world, Who is the main factors? Who are the main players? Who are the main ones being infiltrated? Who are the main ones worshiping, idolizing, adoring, being used as their pawns for our gifts, our talents in these industries, in this world? We have to understand that this is by design. Keep the people that God chose down, enslaved, all of these things. And we're going to get into that because I want to go into that later on down the line. But we're going to get into a lot of things that, happen to us as people. But God is calling us back. And this is not just for, us, because he also gave it to the Gentiles as well. And it's not necessarily about race, color, creed. It's about people and their actual aligning with Christ, meaning leaving, the ways of the world. This is what us living here, but not being of here and being intertwined in this. I myself have been dealing with this, going through this as well. God showing us how to live here and not be of here, and to snatch us out and be taking us away from all of these things. It is not an easy process, but it is a process that has to be done. And the Lord will take away from you all sickness and none of the evil diseases. Now, when you think about the diseases, sicknesses, poverty, diseases, when I tell us, and I say it over and over again, these are curses. These are not blessings. And so these are diseases of Egypt, which you knew will he inflict on you, but he will lay them on all who hate you. So God is saying that he will heal and deliver you from them because of your obedience, because of the covenant. But he will allow them to have it and not you. But this is a part of the curse. If you do not follow these ways, you will bring the opposite. And you shall consume all the peoples that the Lord your God will give over to you. Your eyes shall not pity them, neither shall you serve their gods, for that will be a snare to you. So when we're looking at this, and we're looking at what it's saying, do not pity them. And a lot of times we have issues because when God got ready to destroy, he got ready to destroy. That meant it was judgment time. And when there is time of judgment, because we reap what we sow. So if you're out here sowing all these evil, wicked seeds and you're thinking they're not going to be coming back up in your time of judgment or reaping season, you must be greatly mistaken. Now, we're seeing what's going on in the world, and this is a time where it's being put in front of our faces, but what are we going to do about it? They're talking about all these things, but what's actually being done? It's being revealed, but what's being done? See, we can't be, just sitting by and it's here and not doing anything about it. With all of the things that are being done when it comes to children, when it comes to oppression, when it comes to injustice, we're just here. One, we need to cry out and get back right with the Lord and in alignment so that he can tell us what it is he's trying to do, what he wants to do. Why? Because he needs us to work with him in order to get these things done. This is what this is all about. So now we know about the calendars. We know about all these things. We know that we're not in the year. I said we're not in the year 2026. All of these things are lies. But the more we tell people, it's like the more that they do not want to listen, believe, or any of these things. Why is that? It's right here in front of your face. But you choose not to act. You choose not to see why. You don't want to, because it means you have to do something. You have to change something. You have to be different. And that's the sad part about it. Even when we look at them with these files and know what's going on, who's actually being arrested, what's actually being done. I mean, do you think God is going to continue to uproot and upheave all these things and nothing is going to be done? No one's doing anything. There's no, justice for the unjust. There's no, for the innocent. There's no, God is eventually going to bring about righteous justice, righteous vindications, and judgment for those people. Why? Because God is not a God of injustice and oppression. He's not. And when you look at all of the systems, including business, because when we think about this is God talking about destroying piece by piece, bit by bit, every evil, wicked system, kingdom of hell, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, and darkness. Every kingdom and system that was set up to be unjust, unjust. This is what this is talking about. Tearing it apart brick by brick. Why? To rebuild something better. This is not what he wants. It's not what he intended. So if we say in our heart that these nations are greater than I, how can I dispossess them? You shall not be afraid of them, but you shall remember what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all of Egypt. Remember what he has already done in your life. The great trials that your eyes saw, the signs, the wonders, the mighty hand and the outstretched arm by which the Lord your God brought you out, meaning delivered you. He healed, delivered, and restored you. He got you out of those places, whatever chains, yoke, shackles, and bondage it was, whatever that was in your life, he's delivered you. And you go from faith to faith. This is how you know, because you see what he's brought you from and through. So will the Lord your God do to all the peoples of whom you are afraid. Moreover, the Lord your God will send hornets among them until those who are left and hide themselves from you are destroyed. You shall not be in dread of them, for the Lord your God is in your midst, a great and awesome God. The Lord your God will clear away the nations before you little by little. You may not make an end of them all at once, lest the wild beasts grow too numerous for you. But the Lord your God will give them over to you and throw them into great confusion until they are destroyed. And he will give their kings into your hand, and you shall make their name perish from under heaven. No one shall be able to stand against you until you have destroyed them. He's talking about all of them. You know, the carved images of their gods you shall burn with fire. You shall not covet their silver or the gold that is on them, or take it for yourself, lest you be enslaved by it. For it is an abomination to the Lord your God. And you shall not bring an abominable thing into your house and become devoted to the destruction like it. You shall utterly detest and abhor it, for it is devoted to destruction. And this is what God is talking about. We are going to get into this because we look at all of what goes on in our world and in our lives and what we were told, and we see that it's all lies. And now that we see that, what are we doing to change, to be different, and to do something different? We cannot say we want something different. See, a lot of us have gotten so comfortable being enslaved as long as we can have money and think we have fame and power and beauty. But see, you're still enslaved. You're not free. You're still up under injustice, but it just makes it comfortable. And as long as you're comfortable, you stay right there. And this was their problem. They wanted to be comfortable being in Egypt because at least they knew, but that's not way. No, God is going to take away the comfort. He don't care about your comfort. He wants you to do what it is he planned to do in your life. And sometimes that means being uncomfortable. That means separating. That means getting away from all these people, places, and things that mean you no harm is there to destroy you. And if you stay there and you continue to allow it to do that, it will do exactly that. Moses in this chapter exhorts Israel in general to keep God's commandments, particular and in order to that keep themselves pure from all communion with idolaters, meaning these are the wicked ones of the world, the ones who worship and operate upon the worshipment of the gods. They must utterly destroy the 7 devoted nations and not spare them or make leagues with them, meaning all of these nations who worship what? Other gods. They must by no means marry with the remains of them, meaning do not marry because that is creating a bloodline tie. You are intermingling with what God said was contaminated, is evil, wicked, dirty against them. This is like a house divided, it shall not stand. You cannot build a house with people, places, and things. I don't care where you are, what you're doing, and expect and think that you can operate with the enemy. When you know that there's a snake, treat it as a snake. Stop loving and holding the snakes and hating God, which is whom loves you, and the ones he give you to love you, you hate. Because you hate correction, you hate rules, you hate regulations. You hate having to do stuff that you don't want to do because you like sin. You want to be in sin. And this is what this is about. They must deface and consume their altars and images and not so much take the silver and gold of them into their own use. Why? Because this is what they give you. They give you that to ignore what is going on. And God says no. That's your payment for ignoring. To enforce this charge, he shows that we are bound to do so, meaning in duty, considering their election to God, the reason of that election, terms on which they stood upon God. Interest, it's here promised in general that if they would serve God, he will bless them and prosper them. So you don't need what the world has for you. In particular, that if they would drive out the nation, that they might not be a temptation to them, that God would drive them out so that they should not be a vexation to them. This is talking about, yes, because once you get with them, it's sin and all these things is a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen right away. You slowly become entangled. You befriend, you get to know people, you get to do this, you get to do that, and then you slowly but surely you're intertwined. You're marrying them. You're doing all of these things that God specifically told you not to do. And so we all have gone through this, but it's something we need to pay very close attention to. I don't think God wants us to hate anybody. He wants us to respect people and all of this stuff, but he doesn't want us to be intertwining our lives with them. And this is what that is about. So we're going to get into it. Chapter Deuteronomy 7 is a covenant identity chapter, a fierce, protective, deeply spiritual message about lineage, loyalty, purity of worship, and emotional and spiritual architecture required to inherit rather than merely survive. And that's what this is all about. When you're building, when you have your own family, which we are God's family, and he's telling you to do certain things to protect you in his household, to keep, the wicked ones away from you, and to keep them from around you so you can worship, serve, be blessed, and have a relationship with him, then that's just like you raising your children and telling them all of these things in the world are not for you. But it's up to them to do what they want to do, because everyone has free will. Everybody has their own, So, but you cannot build a house with people, places, and things that are opposite, in opposition of you, meaning against you. These are your enemies. They want to tear you down. They want to do all these things. You're over here trying to do it, and they want all of that. No, you cannot build like that. And this is why you have to separate. You have to get away. Why? Because there's no way in the world that we're going to rebuild and build, with God dealing with all of this. He's not going to allow that. That's building more of what Pharaoh had. He's not building what Pharaoh had. That was that. Y'all had that over there. Over here is where we are. I delivered you, brought you out of that so you can be blessed. So now we're doing something different and something new. Now, either we're going to do this new different thing, or you can go, if you go back, you're going back to all of it, not just a little bit of it. You want my love. You want my hand and my protection. You want my gifts and all of the things that come with me, but you don't want my correction. You don't want my love. You don't want my chastisement. You don't want my rules and regs that's going to keep you safe from harm from these outsiders. This is what this is about. And when you're over there and you're outside of my protection, then anyone and everyone can do whatever they want to do to you. This is what this is about. So either you're over here in protect and live, or you're over there. Alignment. So this comes with inheritance. It comes with so much more, and it's into the lineage, because you're either passing down the blessings or the curses. You're going to inherit either the good or the bad. You're going to feel the generational weight of this one. Okay. Deuteronomy 7, structure, generational summary. Chapter summary. God commands Israel to fully separate from the nations in Canaan, destroy idolatry, and walk in covenant and loyalty, because they are his chosen, loved, and set apart people, called to build a pure spiritual lineage. And when this is happening, all heck will break loose in your life. It will. And it's because when you're snatching away, tearing away, breaking away from old customs, old things, and people see you as you newly are, they're going to look at you differently. But it's supposed to be that way, because you're not supposed to be looked at in the same light that you were in before. You are different. You have changed. This is what God wants for you. This is a part of your life. This is where you're supposed to be. So no, we can't, be dabbling. We can speak. We can, have no hatred, no ill will. But I cannot just be doing what I used to do. Just like me and my walk, with the Lord. At some point, you have to let things go. People, places, and things. You have to be serious about these things. And it's not easy. It's not, it's not. But it's a part of what you have to do. It's a part of the process. Narrative flow. Okay, the command to drive out the nations. God will bring Israel into a land with 7 nations greater and mightier than them. And this is why this is so important, because on their own, they cannot do it. And this is why God takes the ones that nobody wants, that look terrible, that looks all of these things. The ones, why? Because when man is involved, man wants you to do it their way, or Satan's way, whatever they're chasing and following after they want. But when God is in it, he wants you to do it his way. It's not about the world. It's not about you. It's not about Satan. No, it's about him and what he wants you to do his way. So God will bring Israel to a land with 7 nations, great and mighty. Israel must completely destroy them, not because of hatred, but because of spiritual protection. This is what this is about. No intermarriage, no treaties, no compromise. Destroyed their altars, pillars, Asherahs, poles, and idols. Meaning everything. We look at Super Bowl. We look at all these wicked things. And they talked about how these things were a part of sex trafficking, were a part of drug trafficking, the government itself. And how these, elites and the Hollywood and the this one and the that one and the government are all intermingled. And we see, even in our own households, with our own children and what they want and what they're doing. Guess what? And they're against you and they were for everyone else and you're so terrible. This is what this is about. It's not easy, but you have to do it. Why? Because you cannot continue to go the way you were going in Pharaoh's house in Egypt, enjoying whatever it was you was enjoying, so you claim, but you're not remembering the bondage. See, we glorify and glamorize, okay, the past when the future is uncertain or when certain things are not going our way. And we forget that that's where we didn't want to be. That's where they was killing us off, enslaving us, making us work with bricks without mortar, make bricks without mortar and all these things. That's the part you forget, the evil wickedness of it. And you can't have one without the other. You have to see things for where they are. We cannot be in a fantasy world. This is the reality of it. And we got to see it the way it is. Israel's identity as God's chosen people. And this is what he's talking about. Confusion. You don't know when it coexist with confusion. No, the covenant is with identity. It's with God. With them is confusion. Because you see what's going on, but you still do nothing. You still worship. Why is it that you love what hates you and hate what loves you? That is so confused. That is so opposite. That is so crazy. I just don't get it. And most people, this is what we're doing. Whether it's in the world, whether it's in our own lives, whether it's at work, whether it's in our careers, whatever it is that we're doing, we're loving what hates us and hating what loves us. Israel's identity as God's chosen people. You are a holy people. The Lord chose you, not because you were numerous, not because but because he loved you. God is faithful to those who love him and keep his commandments. Identity is rooted in divine love and not human merit. When we look at us, our people are so lost because we love their fame, their money, their everything. We love all of these things. We have made idols of these things that they have given us. This is what they worship, and we have adopted that once again, and we have to come up out of that. This is why they have our land. They have our territory. They have everything. We are blind. We're stupid. We're separated. Why? Because of disobedience. We worship what they worship. We love what they love. We do what they do. We look like they look. We do this. No, we're on the same stages. Want to look, want to have everything that they have, want to be just like them. But God tells us not to do that, to be the opposite, to be separate, to be our own over here, and to not to do those things. Promise of victory. If Israel obeys, God will bless. He will love, bless, and multiply them. Their crops, their livestock, their families will flourish. Sickness will be removed from them. Enemies will fall before them. Obedience produces a generation of flourishing. Do not fear the nations. If you're not doing that, what are we doing? Cursed. Sickness, disease, poverty, our people being killed in the streets. You see the war on our men, on our children. Why? This has always been that way. If you look back, Pharaoh was killing the kids from Moses, especially our children. The men. Homosexuality, abortions, whatever it is, do we not see it? Sexual assaults with this ritualism and all of these things that they have. Listen, pay attention on the street, drugs, gun violence, whatever. Our systems, kingdoms of oppression. That's what the Pharaoh represents, of keeping us enslaved, in bondage, where we cannot move forward. We cannot have nothing in life. We cannot be fruitful and multiply, meaning our money, our time, our energy, our mental, emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual well-being in our homes, in our family, with our children. We are so distraught. It's ridiculous. The human family, especially in the Black communities, is ridiculous. And why do they focus on us so? There's a reason, because we're God's people. But we have to get out of that. We have to get away from Pharaoh. We have to get away from this. Why? Because this is destroying us. This is the system of sin, of iniquity, of trespass, transgress. This is of the curses. This is of the curses of who? Idolatry. Our worshiping these other gods. Who? Satan. And his systems and kingdoms of the world. Just get some money. Just get a big booty. Just get this. Just get that. Just don't care about nothing that's going on. We see the Super Bowls, one of those big times where as I heard Ali Carter talking about, those are the times when they have the big feast, the big this. We see the sexual assaults. We see the Epstein file, and we still are supporting every last bit of it in our own destruction. The hair, the this, the music, everything. We are willing participants to worship these idols, these people, places, and things that God told us, their money, their wealth, their looks, not to do. Their homosexuality, their abortions. Oh, we can't have our children because we're so impoverished. This is a trick. Do not fear the nations. If Israel fears fear, they must remember Egypt. God will drive our enemies little by little, not all at once. Idols must be destroyed, not collected or admired. Anything devoted to destruction must not enter their homes. Fear is defeated by memory. Victory is progressive. Purity is protected. And this is what this is about. It is a progressive thing to continue forward no matter what is going on. My own life has not, even though I'm sitting here, I've been under a lot of stuff that has been going on with my own children, my own life, my own self, just trying my own family. And I'm here and I'm trying to do the best I can to just let other people see, that this is what happens, but it doesn't have to be this way because Jesus is here to help us, to get us through it. People won't believe what I've gone through, what I'm going through, what I've been through, because I don't look like it. And they think, oh, her life is so, no. I am here at the foot every day asking God to keep me in strength and to keep me. Why? Because I need it every day for my own self, my own sanity. Spiritual lineage and themes is our focus. Covenant purity protects lineage. The command to destroy idols and avoid intermarriage is not ethnic. It is a spiritual situation. Idolatry corrupts identity. And this is why you get with people and they take you back out into the world. Mixed worship creates generational confusion. When you're mixing things, we'll go to church, but we're still hanging out and we're still doing, that's confusion. And it breeds continual confusion because people are not taking it serious. This chapter is about protecting the spiritual DNA of the nation, protecting God's DNA, meaning continuing his bloodline and not Satan's. Because that's what they want to do. Either they want to contaminate, they have their bloodline and they watching it, and this is what this is about, and they target our bloodline. Why? Because they don't like our bloodline, because it's of Christ, it's of the lineage, and this is why. Love as the root election. God says he chose Israel because he loved them. He keeps covenant and he is faithful. This means your lineage is rooted in love. Your identity is not random. Your calling is intentional. And calling doesn't have to mean being this big old wonderful thing. It could be just doing whatever it is in your day-to-day life and your purpose that God is having you to do, to living it out, walking like Christ daily. That's it. And God will do it from there because it's not about us. It's about him and what he's going to do. One plant, one water, and God gives increase. It's not that we have people worship and bow down and follow us. And no. We point them in the direction of Christ and we allow Christ to do his work in them. We cannot force or make anyone do anything. Generational blessing is conditional on loyalty. And that's it. Blessing flows through. That's just like your children. Obedience, devotion, purity of worship, covenant alignment. This is not legalism. It is spiritual architecture. Why? God is not going to continue to bless those who curse him. Now, that happens. Don't get me wrong. He allows, the sun to rise on the just and the unjust just alike. But what we're saying is obedience, devotion, purity of worship, covenant alignment. It flows through whom? His people. This is not legalism. It is a spiritual architecture. Victory is progressive. It is not instant. We worship and are sanctified day to day, little by little. I tell people all the time that guess what? I'm not delivered from everything in my life. I am in the spiritual, but I have to walk it out. God knows that there's certain things in my life when it comes to certain things that he's still working with me on. And so because of that, there's grace for me there. Why? Because God is doing a work in me, but it's not going to be, oh, boom, today everything is gone. I'm completely healed, delivered from everything in one day. No, it is a progressive thing because it's not by my might, not by my power, but it's by his spirit, and he does it on his time. I can't take these things out of me. I can try to do right, but it's for him to help me to take it out or help me deal with it or whatever it's going to be, whichever way he chooses. Victory is progressive, not instant. It's little by little. It is a generational principle. God removes enemies at a pace that protects you. Too much, too fast creates vulnerability. Slow victory builds capacity. This mirrors emotional and generational healing. So being able to, have a life here and know my boundaries before I'm able to go out and be like, okay, right, because I have to know when, where, and how I can maneuver. Certain things God has delivered me of them, but doesn't mean I have to necessarily be running around with them. No. What it means is, okay, I am not struggling in that area, but it's not to say that I can't. So I don't want to go back to doing that. Let me go ahead and move forward. It's not to say that I'm just not going to be around anybody because the life is the life. But I have to choose to be in certain people, places, and things and doing them. No, I don't. Memory as a weapon against fear. When fear rises, God says, because remember Egypt, right? Because at times we remember what we want to remember. Remember deliverance, remember my power. Memory is a generational armor. And sometimes people remember what they want to remember, when, where, and how. But this is what God wants us to do. He wants us to remember and remember the truth of it All of it. The good, the bad, and the ugly of it. This is our last summary. Historical. Israel must remove idolatrous nations and practices from Canaan. The emotional fear is replaced with memory. Identity replaces insecurity. Generational. Purity of worship protects lineage. Compromise corrupts it. Identity. Israel's chosen, loved, and set apart for covenant purpose. Spiritual. God demands exclusive devotion because he's faithful and holy. So he's not going to deal with the halfness of us. And that's just like us in our marriages or in our relationships with whoever we're with. We're not going to deal with someone who's going to haphazardly love us or haphazardly give us. No, we want the full. And if not, we don't want it. And this is what God is saying. And that's in any area of your life. And if that is not happening, it's up to you to choose what you're willing to accept and what you're not. People are not going to be perfect, but everyone has their rules and regs of what they're willing to accept and what they're not. Spiritual lineage map, a visual of how this chapter shapes generational identity. Divine love, meaning God chooses, loves, and covenants who he wants. That's what he does. This is divine love. This is not our love. This is his love. Covenant identity, you are holy, set apart, and distinct. Purity of worship, no idols, no compromise, and no mixture. Period. Generational protection, your children inherit clarity and not confusion. Progressive victory, little by little means capacity grows and enemies fall. Flourishing legacy, blessings, health, multiplication, and stability. This is what that looks like. So now we're going to get into, it's like a generational map. We're going to look at it and see the 6 generational movements. 1, separation from protection. God commands Israel to what? Remove idolatrous nations, destroy idols, refuse intermarriage, and reject compromise. Why? Generational purpose. It protects the spiritual DNA of the nation, meaning it continues to keep the bloodline pure, holy, and continuing on the way it's supposed to, meaning being obedient, following the laws, doing what he tells us to do in their relationship and in covenant. Chosen plus love and identity. God says you are holy. I chose you. I loved you. Not you love me. No, I loved you. I chose you. I drew you to me. Generational purpose. Identity is rooted in divine love and not performance. We cannot pay our way in. We cannot perform our way in. We cannot. We all sin and saved by grace. That's it. Why? Because none of us deserve it. None of us earned it. None of it. No. It was freely given. Christ went and paid the price for us. Price that he did not deserve, that we should have rightfully, and this is why we're supposed to love and all these things. Because he loved us. He took it on. This is why we pray and ask for the repentance of whether we did it or not. Why? Because Christ didn't do any of it. We're a part of that. We sent him to the cross. I mean, it was his choice, but still, we turned on them. They didn't turn on us with these other gods. That's like turning on your parents, turning on your children. This is what happens. Covenant faithfulness. God keeps covenant to 1,000 generations with those who love him, with those who walk in his ways. Generational purposes. Blessing flows through loyalty. Exactly. You want to be blessed. You want to love. You want all these things. You want what okay, then you need to be loyal. You need to be faithful. You need to be in relationship, meaning we're supposed to be doing this together. And if not, this is what God is requesting from us. He's demanding this from us in order for us to get reciprocation. This is what this is about. Blessing, flourishing. Obedience produces multiplication, health, fruitfulness, and protection. So if you want to keep this going, this is what we have to do. Generational purpose. Obedience builds generational stability. And this is what we want in our lives. Who doesn't want to multiply in every area? Have health, have fruitfulness, have protection. Of course we do. Fearless remembrance. When fear rises, remember Egypt. Remember what God has already brought you from. Remember deliverance. Remember God's power in your life. Remember the generational purpose. Memory becomes an armor. Because sometimes the devil will use it against us to hurt us. But we have to use it and flip that thing around and show that the memory that we have is of God delivering us. We may not be where we want to be, but we're not where we used to be. And that we have to thank God for. Progressive victory. God drives out our enemies little by little. That's in our mental capacity, our emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual. It's not all at once. It's a pace that protects Israel. It ensures that they can steward the land. It ensures that they can to do what he wants, and it does it in relationship to him. a steady situation of we're going to move through this slowly. We're going to take our times and we're going to do what needs to be done. It is a process. It's not going to be rushed. Dueteronomy 7 declarations say identity, purity, courage, and lineage declarations. We're going to 1A, identify declarations. I am chosen, loved, and set apart by God. My identity is rooted in covenant, not comparison. I walk in purity, clarity, and devotion. This is so important because a lot of times people want us to be like them and do like them, and that's not what we're supposed to do. And a lot of times, whether it's in the church or out, people want you to sit up under them so they can tell you how to do this and how to do that. Now, God has structure. Yes, he does. But everyone is not the one who's going to be telling you these things because they themselves want to not align. 2, God may not want you to do it the way that they want you to do it. Everyone's called, even in the Bible times, to walk with God, and he has a specific thing for their lives. And that's something you have to take up with God for yourself. Purity and lineage declarations. I protect my spiritual lineage from confusion and compromise. I destroy every idol that tries to reshape my identity. My lineage inherits clarity, not mixture. Like I said, this also includes, when it comes to idols, your children could be your idols, your work, your whatever, your career, your beauty, whatever you're putting before God. Whatever you can't give up, can't let go. It could be your phone, it could be your computer, it could be whatever. It could be those things as well. It could be food. It could be different things. Courage declarations. I do not fear what looks bigger than me. I remember what God has already delivered me from, and my memory is stronger than my fear because we've seen the works and the wonders. We've seen how God took us from nothing and made us something. We've seen how he took them out of Egypt, how he snatched them, how he did the plagues. Yes, and that's in our own lives. What did God deliver you from? What did he, bless you and take you out of? And at the times when you didn't care about him, you didn't love him, you weren't thinking about him, and he still was there. He still was providing, protecting you. He still was allowing you when you hated him, and to be blessed and have and do whatever it is what you were doing. We have to pay attention to these things. Victory declaration. God drives out my enemies little by little. I grow in capacity as God clears the path. Exactly. I walk in progressive, substantial victory. Exactly. Each and every day, God is working on you to take something new out of your life, and it's different things with different people. Folks suffer with different things. Spiritual lineage cleansing worksheet. Deep reflective tool to remove spiritual mixture and reclaiming covenant identity. Section 1. Identify the mixture. Where have I blended God's truth with cultural beliefs? This is where we are with most of this in this world, because we want to keep what we want, and it's not always. Listen, God is eventually going to snatch all of that away, either willingly or unwillingly. We either will let it go on our own, or he's going to snatch it. And when he does it, it's going to be a tearing down and destroying of it, because you would do it the easy way or the hard way. That's when you get whooped. What habits or mindsets dilute my devotion? Exactly. There are a lot of things that we want to hold on to that God is telling us to let go. What relationships pull me away from covenant identity? These things are not, they're serious. And God wants to remove them so that he can do what he's doing in you. And I'm not here to condemn and tell you, no, he's going to do it. It's going to happen. But you have to be willing, and you have to take the time out, and it's a progressive thing. So identifying the idols. Idols can be emotional, relational, mental, generational, internal narratives. They could be any of these things. Questions. What do I trust more than God? What do I fear losing the most? What do I run to before I run to God? Like I said, these could be any one of those things that we just said above, which are emotional, relational, mental, generational, and internal. So that could be any people, place, and thing in any of those categories. Section 3, identifying the generational contamination. What patterns run in my family that oppose covenant identity? So what are the things, what do we see that are running? And it opposes identity with God. What spiritual mixes or mixtures have been normalized, meaning we just allow them to be there? What must end with me? What things we must stop? We must destroy, put an end to it. Why? Because we cannot continue this way with God, because he's not going to allow it. He's not going to bless it. Destroy the idol spiritually. What belief must I renounce? What habit must I break? What boundary must I set? What truth must I reclaim? These are questions, honey. When I say these things are hitting me hard, they hit me hard too, because it's things, you're just working on. Section 5, rebuild covenant identity. What does God say about me? What does God say about my lineage? What does God say about my future? Little by little healing plus victory. God's strategy for sustainable transformation. Why God works little by little. Too much, too fast creates vulnerability. It also makes you, it confuses you sometimes. Because you see a lot of things, but you're like, that gotta, but don't be overwhelmed. Note it in your mind and like, Lord, okay, we're going to start working on those things, Healing requires capacity. Victory requires stewardship. Growth requires pacing. Yeah, are we capable of? And stewardship. Once we are able to overcome, how will we steward what he has, delivered us from? Will we let other people know about it? We have to have a pace, little by little areas. Identify 3 areas where God is working progressively in our lives. And what God has already driven out. List enemies God has already removed, whether it's fear, scarcity, shame, confusion, generational patterns. It could be people, places, and things that you was doing. What has God already driven out? These are the things that we have to look at. What God is currently driving out. This is the list of enemies being removed now. Insecurity, mixture, self-doubt, emotional residue. It could be people, places, and things in any one of those categories. What God will drive out next. List the enemies that will fall as capacity grows. Intimidation, comparison, spiritual stagnation. Yet again, this could be in any people, place, or thing format, meaning where is it in your life? Okay, integrated transformation. This is chapter 7, from wandering to identity to purity to victory. This is going to be the path. As I said, chapter 1, theme, confront the past. From failure to forward, break shame cycles. This is what that's about. Chapter 2, boundaries and timing. From wanderer to discipline, ends wandering patterns. 3, courage, leadership. From intimidated to conqueror, then establishes victory patterns. Wisdom and covenant, that's 4, from reactive to rooted, builds generational identity. 5, covenant identity, from rule keeping to heart alignment, right? Establishes continuity. 6, love and devotion, from divided to wholehearted, creates generational discipleship. Then 7 is from purity to protection, from mixture to set apart to protect spiritual lineage. And this is where we are. God transformed people from wandering to survivors into covenant-rooted, spiritually pure, generationally strong leaders. This is what this is about. These are the blueprints of how to get to where it is we're trying to go in the Lord. This is where he's showing us, and he showed us in Deuteronomy. He's letting us know. We are already at Deuteronomy 7. I told you once we get through Deuteronomy, I will be taking a little break because I will be going into some things myself. I don't know if people will want to join. I'll discuss that later. But the main thing is to honor and obey, especially when it comes to his commandments. Remember, obedience is always better than sacrifice. Separate yourself from the people, places, and things he does not want you around, does not want you to involve with. It doesn't matter what that is. It could be TV, it could be music, it could be whatever, your phone, whatever people, place, or thing that is, destroying, contaminating your life. Not mercy, meaning God is not having mercy right now when it's time to devour the enemy. When it's time, you will not be having pity or mercy upon them, because this will be the time where God is going to say, okay, now you go in, you do what I tell you to do, and you become victorious by destroying this people, place, or thing for whatever the reason is that he has. Why? Because I'm going to give you this land. I'm going to give you this territory. I'm going to give you these blessings when you do these things. Why? Because they are a threat to you, to me. They're an abomination. Whatever it is time for judgment. Whatever they have been doing, have been getting away with, it is time that whatever they planted is rooted. It's here. Judgment's here. It's time to judge. Why? Because God does things. It's time for judgment. It's not about revenge. It's judgment. It's setting the wrong things right. Justice, righteous vindication, righteous judgments on behalf of the people. Why? Because they've been waiting. They've been crying. All this injustice. No, God is here to set the wrongs right. Deface and consume, meaning he's going to be up in their faces when he do it. He's not going to hide. He's not backing down. He's not wanting you to, no, he wants you to be standing there, be bold, be strong in the time of war. You're not moving backwards. You're not going to be moved. You're going to be stand firm and planted where he put you, having the full armor of God on, and you are going to destroy whoever it is he has called you to destroy. And when he says do it, he wants you to completely do it, meaning no women, no children, no nothing. He don't even want their towns and cities. He said don't take anything. He wants it utterly destroyed, whether that means burning it down, whatever it is he's telling them to do. This is what he wants them to do. Every altar, every covenant contract, no infrastructure, no, he doesn't want them financially. He wants them utterly destroyed. And when he goes in and he does this, this is for a reason, to show that what? Your God is greater than theirs. It's not even personal. It's not necessarily about you, because it's God's way of getting you where he wants you to be, but also showing you that you have to fight for it. It's going to be certain things that you cannot back down and get away from. Eventually, there's going to be a war. Eventually, there's going to have something in situations you just cannot avoid. You've tried to, but it's not. If it's there, God bring you to it, he'll bring you through it. That's it. To drive them out. This is what this is about, to remove all the blockages, the stumbling blocks in your life from moving forward, whatever that may be. There's people, places, and things that have been put there intentionally to be blockages, to stop you, to see if you're going to push forward, if you're going to stand backwards, if you're going to stand still, whatever you're going to do. But with God, he's always moving forward. You're not going backward and you're not going to stand still, but for so long. He will allow you to, but forward is always action. God never goes back. He never goes backwards. He never goes backwards, and you will only stand still for him. And I tell people, I don't move backwards. I don't play with people. I don't stand still unless God tells me. But when it's time to move forward and God gives me the go, I'm going forward by any and all means necessary. And when I say that, I mean, if God says to do whatever needs to be done, that's what you do. He didn't tell them to take no captives, no prisoners. No, he said destroy them all. That means to kill everyone when you go into these places. Men, women, and children, livestock, everything is supposed to be destroyed. When they left Egypt, they bankrupt. Everything in Egypt was utterly destroyed after all the plagues. Their farmland, their cattle, everything was destroyed. Just think about it. He didn't play with them, didn't spare them, didn't have no mercy on them, period. And I tell people, this is where I am in my life. I do not play with snakes. I don't. God didn't tell me to play with snakes. When you see snakes in your life, don't take them home and coddle them. When people already let you know that they are definitely your enemy, you pay attention. You don't play with that at all. That is not a sign for you to keep. No, that is a sign for you to know. Note that, make a note of it, remember it. Do not forget it, and understand that they are who they are. They said they are, and you will deal with them accordingly. That's just how this is. There's no, oh, no. There's none of that. You will deal with the situation accordingly. God says he will bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you. When the time comes for war, he's a God for war of war. He is a God of a 9 for 9 when the time comes. Not every situation is going to be lenient situation. Some situations, God's going to tell you to move forward and fight with no mercy. Please understand. And as you can see, Deuteronomy chapter 7 is one of them. All throughout this whole thing, what you see God is telling them, move forward. I don't care how big they are, how strong they are, how many of them they are yours. Go and do as I said. Conquer every last one of them. Don't take no mercy. Don't have devour them. Utterly destroy them. Don't take their finances, their money. No bribe. Why? Your motives and intentions got to be pure. We're on the same side. We're fighting against our enemy. This is what we're doing. We're in line. We're not out of a line with each other. We're not confused. No, we're not going against each other. No, we're not divided. We are together. This is our house. I am the head. I am telling you to move forward. I am your God. I am your Father. I am telling you as my children, go do this and don't do anything else but what I told you to do the way I told you to do it. Why? Because the victory is already yours if you listen to me. But it's going to take action, because faith without works is dead. It's going to take action on your part. When we see in this world, what goes on with the nations, and that was the next thing, the nations of the template of how they have all of this, it's going to take for you to do that. Because there will be no change if you're just going to sit around and there's no action behind it. We're seeing what's going on. Everyone's talking in this world, but where's the action behind it? This is a time when they call good evil, evil good. God has already discussed this. You got the people over there with the wars. They doing this, they doing it. Pay attention to what is going on. The people who are in charge of all of this is the same people that is involved with everything that's going on. Whether it's the sex trafficking, whether it's the drug trafficking, whatever it is, the impoverishing, the sickness, disease, the curses of the people. Why? Because they're not believing in justice. Because where's the justice? The justice is only for the select few. That's not God's justice system. We went through that in from Genesis to now to Deuteronomy. Everything God has laid out from the justices, this is before they're going to move forward. This is God letting us see this is what the earth, on earth as it is in heaven, is supposed to be. The justice system is not supposed to be based on race, color, creed, none of that. No, it's supposed to be based on justice. Not who has the most money, who could pay to be free. Not we're going to give it to a certain few. No, that's not what justice is. This is what I say when I say all of the government systems, the culture of the world, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, is working together. Against who? Us, the children of God. So we must in turn be working together, because a house divided shall not stand. As you could see, when Israel was doing all of what they were doing, fighting amongst themselves, God, he chastised them, because you're not supposed to be going against each other. You're supposed to be fighting the war, not these battles amongst yourself. No, the whole point of us doing this, living this life, is to get through this together. Why we need each other to fight against them, because they're already together. We're the ones divided. And there's plenty of them in the churches and all wherever divided. And when I say divided, you think they're on your side, but they're not. And that's the problem with all of this. God is eliminating that. That's why he's destroying it. That's why he's cutting it down. He's doing judgment, because he doesn't want that haphazardness in with the mixed in, the contaminated blood mixed in. He doesn't want that. Because it's going to reproduce the same thing, which is more confusion, more conflict, more division. That's why he destroys it at the root. He says to kill it, cut it off, get it all done. Why? We don't want to do that. We're doing something new. And if it's new and it's wholeheartedly with God, then it won't be mixed in with that. And we see that going on. We're all day, every day, whether it's in politics, whether it's the churches, whatever, we're seeing that the mixture is there. God does not want the mixture. He does not want the mixture. The mixture is the problem, because we are confused. We can't tell who's who and what's what. We don't know who to trust and who not. This is the problem. This is why there's no action being done. There's nothing but confusion and strife. No, we have to change that. That's supposed to be in the enemy's camp. We're the ones with the power, dominion, and authority. They don't have it. They have it by default because we're out of alignment. We're not being in line with God. We're not up under his covering. We're not saved. We're not living our life. We're not living a life that is separated. We're not living a life that's obedient and submitted. No, we're living a life that we're doing what we want to do and doing what culture says do. And we're looking and acting and sounding just like them. And this is the problem. Taking all their money, their goods, their vanity, their all of the things that God says for us not to be doing. Okay, we're taking it. And then we wonder why we're up under the curses and not the blessings. Why? Because God specifically told us not to do these things. Oh, it's not right. It's not just. No, he allowed, every time he allowed Israel to be conquered is when they were back worshiping those same ones he delivered them from. Now, that's just like a child. With you live in your parents' household, they tell you what to do, you don't want, and you go out there and you see, and then you complain and you get mad when things are not going. And then you God is still helping you, your parents, and then you're still not happy. So guess what? Eventually, let them go on, do what they want to do, and you come over here and you do what you're doing. Why? Because you're not going to continue to be back and forth. Either we're going to be together or we're going to be divided, but we're not going to be in between. We're not going to continue to do a contaminating thing. That is destructive. It is backward. It is a never-ending cycle pattern of what? The thoughts, habits, cycles, and patterns of what? Destruction. It is not helpful. It is not building and moving forward. It is divided and conquered. You let everyone on the outside tell you what needs to be going on the inside when I already told you what we need to be doing. But you listen to all of them and not me. And then you wonder why you're where you are dealing with what you're dealing with. This is what that's, and don't be mad and blame me about it. And no, I'm not getting involved and entangled until folks is ready to get their mind and their life right. No, I'm not being bothered. God feels the same way. He's not doing it. Let them have what they want. Why? I'm going to step out of the way, and if that's what they wanted, then I'm going to let them have at it. Ain't no sense in me getting involved, because see, free will is for us all. And that's whether it's in your marriage, with your children, with your job, with your whatever. You stay on the path that God put you on. Don't allow whatever's going on, your friends, your family, situations, circumstances, to take you out of what God is doing in your life. Because we do get to that point where we go through things and we're upset, we're angry. I would say be angry, be upset, do not sin. But what you need to do is take your time out, regroup, cry it out, whatever you need to do. Ask God to help you, talk to God about it, but rest. Don't go back. Take a pause break. That's fine. Because this gets to be a lot sometimes. And I tell people that all of the time. When you're fighting for people, places, and things. And God, he's doing it. He sent his son. He did everything he could to bring them back. But eventually your seed's going to grow. Your judgment's going to come. Eventually you're going to do it willingly on your own. Or your own devices is going to catch up to you. What you sown is going to come back. And when it comes back, it always is more than what you had. I'm trying to stay over here and not be sowing any wickedness, whether it's people, places, things. I'm trying to live a repentant life. I'm trying to ask God to help me daily with my own walk, with everything. Words I say, actions I do, things I hear, whatever it is, I'm asking God to help me daily. Things I know of and don't know. Remember, there's sin, there's iniquity, trespass, transgression, there's sins of omission and commission, whatever that may be. And this is what this is about. Because I want my soul, you don't want everyone else's to be going to heaven and you're the vessel and you not go. You have to have your own relationship and foundation first. And outside of everything that's going on in my life, because there's a lot going on, but still, and I feel the way God does and the way Moses did sometimes when you're out here and you're looking at the people you're trying to help and they have nothing when it comes to you. When it comes to you, your life, they don't care. They don't want to take. This is the problem. They want to receive. They don't want to pour. They don't want to help. They don't want to do nothing. They want you to sit there and but then they're going to want to come when things when God starts. And see, that's when God prepares a table in the midst of your enemies, because he's not going to let them come and join in to what it is he prepared for you. They can be close enough to watch, but you will not enjoy the fruits of their labor. Why? Because God said no with that. This is what this is about. So when we sit back and we understand that this is what this is about, then we will understand wholeheartedly what is going on. Because it's not about every battle. And every battle is not yours. Certain battles belong to the Lord. But when he does tell you to stand and fight, that's when you stand and you fight. Because you already know the victory is yours. There's certain people, places, things, and situations you already know makes no sense. There's no reason behind it. But when you see them and you know that, just know that God is in the midst of it. And he's going to handle it. And when it's time to do whatever it is you need to do, you're going to have to do it. And whatever the situation, the consequences, whatever the repercussions, God has already had provision there for you. But you can't let any Pharaoh, any mountain, any Goliath, no matter how big or small that they are in your life, these giants, these 7 nations, you can't let them have you intimidated and back you down. Remember, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're mightier. No, you have to do it. Be bold, be strong. The Lord thy God is with you. Fear not, for I am with you. You have to move forward in what God told you to do. The battle's already yours. He's already told you the victory is yours. You're more than a conqueror. You need to move forward. Do not allow any people, place, or thing to turn you back, have you. No, you move when God says move. You stay, you pivot when he says. That's why he's the shepherd. Why? When Jesus says move, you move. Listen and wait for him. Don't listen for any and everybody else. No, him. Because when you're moving with him, nothing nobody else says, it does not matter. Move with what he told you to do. And when we look at the Moses and all of them, that's what they did. It was contrary to what everyone else thought and what everyone else believed, what everyone else thought of him and whatever, how they looked and all. No. But when you follow what God says to do, even in the time of Noah with the flood, everybody laughed and mocked and it was just whatever, right? But God took that Noah and used him. He used Moses. He used all of them that were there as just examples of God picks and chooses whom he wants. The ones that don't seem like nothing. They ain't that important. They ain't right. And those are the ones he uses because it's not about them. It's about him. You can clearly see it wasn't them. It was him. Had to be him. Because where else would they have done and been able to do any of these things? Without him, they wouldn't be nothing. They wouldn't have nothing. This is what this is all about. Oh, I already know this. I know I'm just here as a vessel. I'm not, you know. And I know God can use whoever whenever he is ready. Please don't think it's all about me and I have to be here making money and on platforms and stages. No, 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 no. That's not what he called us to do. It's not what we have to be doing. It's not everybody's purpose calling, none of that. And a lot of it is just their own whatever. So their own vanity, their own pride, ego is just them wanting to be and do. And when you see it getting out of hand and out of control, we already know plainly who's also covenant and contracts they're on. They're too worldly. They're too much like the world. You can't tell the difference in them. It makes a lot of sense. They look and act just like them. There's no difference. The contamination is full blown, and whether they see it or not, themselves, within themselves, or what is there, they're either avoiding it, they don't care, or they're already completely, a lot of them have already completely crossed over. So it just is what it is. But as we can see, God does not make mistakes. He knows what he knows. He's doing what he's doing. He has all of the information ahead of time. He walks ahead. He goes before. This is why he's a shepherd to guide the sheep. Any hurt, harm, or danger is going to come. He's going to come to it. He's going to handle it. But if there's battles that they need to fight, he's going to allow them to fight him. Why? Because you have to strengthen your own abilities. That is, these trials and tribulations are to strengthen you for the next level of whatever is coming. So no, we will not be just sitting here as believers living a trial-free, test-free life. There will be trials and tribulations, but he will deliver you from them all. Not from, sometimes it's through, sometimes up, down, around, whatever, but he will not take them all away. He will allow you to fight. You have to put on your armor daily. Your helmet, your shield, your breastplate, the belt of truth, the peace, the shoes of peace are upon you. All of that you have to, and the sword, which is the word. So when it's time to fight, helmet of salvation, you got to put it on. It's time to fight. When it's time to go to war, it's time to go to war. And when God says go to war, he means business. He's not playing around. When people think that this is a game and it's well, you just be soft and meek. No. And there's a time when God's going to tell you to get up and you just go out there and level everything. And don't play no games, have no mercy, have no nothing, as we can see. And you can look it up in Deuteronomy chapter 7 for yourself. You do not have to take my word for it. I'm just happy to be in Deuteronomy chapter 7 because we're in Deuteronomy now. And I went through from 1 and we're going to get through Deuteronomy. And at the end, I have some stuff that I wanted to do. And then I'm going to go on my little sabbatical because I have to. And then also because we'll be going into the next, which will be the New Testament, which the New Testament is going to be with Jesus. It's going to be all of that. And that is going to be, that's where we really about to get into some stuff. But anyway, we're bruised and not broken. I hope this channel is a blessing to someone. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm just going through the word myself on a day-to-day basis. I know I'm a little bit behind. I should be in chapter, I think, going into 10 because we're about to be. But I needed to rest. I needed some time with the Lord. I need some time to get myself together. And when I do, I have to do that. So I will not forsake my time with God because I have to just let the world close around me. That means no internet, no this, no that, and just, be here alone and be with the Lord sometime because you just have to do that for your sanity, to keep yourself balanced, meaning, all of that. But anyway, I love you guys. Like I said, bruised and not broken. Be blessed. I hope that this message is a blessing to someone. God is my provider. He always is. He's my protector. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Someone else can hear the messages. I hope it's a blessing to any of you out there. And there's a thing in my profile. You could be a blessing to me if you want, if you would like, to my family, if I'm a blessing to yours. And if not, then that's fine. God is my provider. Love you guys until the next word. I'm going to try to get these next couple. I don't want to get caught up, and then that'll be that. Love you later.